Hi everybody, David Harper here. Let me introduce you to Charlie Wallrock and his magnificent world of antiques. And when I say magnificent, I truly mean magnificent. This is top-end international antique dealing at its very best, but done with a smile. You will see as you get to know Charlie that he absolutely loves his job, so much so he works every day and he even writes books. In truth, he does admit that Rusty, his lovely wife, does all the hard work, the writing, but Charlie provides the images, and the images come from important historical, some cases museum quality antiques that he buys and sells throughout the year. And the books tell fascinating, interesting, and little known historical stories, all through these items that Rusty and Charlie research and love. This is a fascinating journey and a great series of videos. This is number one. Sit back and enjoy. This isn't a bad way to start the day, is it?
Well, I haven't fed you yet.
I know, I'm waiting. I'm trying to encourage you to get that full English breakfast you promised me.
I promise.
So we're going to have that. We're going to have a nice cup of coffee. It's 7:30 on a bright, sunny day. Scrumpy looks happy enough.
He's always happy.
And we're going to follow you around.
Yeah, could be interesting for you.
Yeah.
Bit bonkers.
A bit bonkers. We like a bit of bonkers.
I do bonkers.
It's almost like a day in the life of, isn't it?
Well, that's one way of looking
Yeah.
at it.
Well, we're going to start with a hearty, full English breakfast.
Yep.
And
then I'm going to off for a 10-minute journey down into town, and I'll show you my man cave, which you rarely get to see.
All right.
And I'll show you how this crazy antique business works.
Brilliant. Is Scrumpy coming with us?
He can do. He usually does.
All right.
As long as there's a treat involved. Oh, hello.
Right, breakfast and then let's hit the road.
Looking forward to it.
Right, this is it, is it?
Oh my goodness, here we go.
Right.
Come and see the madness of an antique dealer.
All
After
right.
42 years.
42 years, you don't look old enough. It must keep you well
Do you
and
think
fit.
I came down in the last raincoat?
Listen, John, it works with most people.
Hey ho.
Right, what have we got here then?
This is where we run the whole business from,
Right.
as well as quite a bit of personal stuff, but this sort of is where the glue all fits and the invoicing and
Right.
trying to keep up with the internet and everything else.
Right.
And where I occasionally hide away and think of things.
Yeah, and just put your head in your hands and go,
Yeah,
why do I work every single day of my
Because I
life?
like looking at things like this, that's why.
You do love this,
I love
don't
it.
you?
I love it. I just look at that and that takes me back. That's a cobalt fishing boats in the northeast, how they used to work. Tough life, but you just wonder if it was a better life.
Do you know what? A simpler life. And
Yeah.
I think if you could interview those people, they would say that they were happy. Good community spirit.
They wouldn't have had a passport or worried about catching the next train or plane.
No. And they weren't envious of everybody. They didn't see a new black Range Rover with blacked out windows
No.
because they didn't exist.
No.
Yeah, happy, simple life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They probably worried if the other guy's horse was a bit quicker though.
Exactly, that's a good point. Or a faster boat.
Yeah, anyway.
A boat without holes in.
Yeah.
I suppose it's human nature, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway,
absolutely.
but you deal in human nature, you deal in connections to real people, and
Absolutely.
you love history.
I enjoy the stories.
Come and tell me
That
some
connects
stories.
a real object to something and someone that loved it, had it made, cared for,
Yeah.
and all those things, and they're important to me.
Let's go and have a look at some of
Okay.
those things.
Come to the first bit of my man cave.
Right.
Please mind the step, David. It's there to trip you up.
Right, I've got you. So this, do you refer to this as your man cave?
Personally, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, you can't look at this. That's coming out
Why
at a
not?
later date. It's yet to later date.
Wow.
For later date.
I tell you what, he is, I can tell, a very rare object. Are you going to tell me about him in another video?
Yeah, but it's a very important piece of modern social history. But
Okay.
I've got another great piece coming in, and I'll let you know when I've got both of them.
Okay. All right, well, we'll ignore him for now, but not for
I
long.
promise to give you first divvies on the story.
Now, is he in your book? This is
He
Nelson.
is- That's Nelson by Dane Seymour. And it's only plaster, but we found recently an art. Sorry,
Yeah, no, that's
we
fine.
found an article recently in an 1812. I can't remember the date. I think it was 1812 newspaper talking about this bust.
Really?
Yeah, which just makes it even more special.
What sort of money is he?
I think it's about £16,000,
Yeah, he
which
is.
is a lot of money. But,
But-
as they say, show me yours. You know,
Well,
I won't find another one.
There isn't another
No.
one, is there? You love your research, don't you?
I
You
do.
really enjoy that side of
I
things.
find it exciting.
Let's have a wander around then. Let's just
Okay.
have a... Because what we're also looking at here is your taste as an individual dealer. Because
Yes.
do you generally buy things that really grab your soul?
Yeah. I've got to look at it and go, oh, I really like that. Otherwise, I just... And every now and then I let my guard down and go, oh, I better buy that, I suppose. And I act in haste and repent in leisure.
That's very interesting you say that. So you see something, because you are a dealer, you have to make money out of these things. Sometimes you must see things and think, well, there's a profit in it, but there's no pleasure in it.
That's not a profit.
That's interesting.
That's not a profit.
Because profit isn't always about money,
No.
is it?
It isn't. There's more to it. I mean, a great piece which you won't have probably clocked. This satinwood cabinet,
Right.
beautiful little ship's cabinet, is solid satinwood, and I've locked it. And I don't know where the key will be, but the paperwork we found for this is here. It's fully fitted inside, but inside, I'm very, very excited here because there's some paperwork, an admiral of the old school, and then here is some original paperwork. This satinwood cabinet made on board Admiral Bingham's ship by the ship's carpenter in 1806 HMS Sceptre, Emma Bim, etc., etc. But we continue to do more work on this, and it relates to the local school at the top of the hill who gave a scholarship, and it's this family.
How
I
unbelievable.
think that's really just fantastic.
It is fantastic.
Yeah.
And for you to be able to date it specifically,
Yeah,
not only to
absolutely.
the year, but to where it was made,
Yep.
by whom, and fascinatingly, on board.
Absolutely, by the ship's carpenter.
That is amazing.
And I will try and find the key for you in due course and show you inside because it's beautifully fitted.
And isn't that such a good example of Georgian refinery at its best? Because it's simple, it's plain, but it's elegant and
It's
sophisticated.
on board ship, functional. And those mirrors here, Dave,
Hang on, before you go on to the mirrors.
Sorry.
What's it worth?
I think it's about, I think it's £12,000.
Yeah.
Which doesn't seem a lot of money to me if you were into the history
Yes.
and if you want a beautiful satinwood cabinet. You
Yeah.
can't make it for that.
No, you can't. And you are, in this case, actually genuinely buying a really interesting piece of history. And
Indeed.
but I get the impression that your real interest is maritime, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been on boats all my life.
Have you?
Yeah, and the lovely thing about a ship or a yacht or a model, there is always a history.
Yeah.
There's always a story.
Yeah.
And I mean, those mirrors, to most eye, they'd look at those and go, "Oh, you can't use that. They're awful." These are an original pair of mirrors from the Battle of Copenhagen.
Oh, you are kidding me.
I'm not.
No, stop it.
Yeah, so these were in
Nelson's Battle of Copenhagen, 1801.
yeah, they were in a different ship. Here's all they've come from the family.
Right, hold that still, because this is blowing my mind. Go on, tell me about it.
So these would have sat in this admiral's cabin during the battle. That's the original mirror plate in both of them.
Okay, hold that. Let's have a look at that. Tell me more about the Battle of Copenhagen.
So, well, it was the one where Nelson didn't get the message not to go.
Right. It's where we get turn a blind eye from.
And something from that. And funny enough, I've got a rare sword from Copenhagen in there. We might say that to another day.
Goodness me, Charlie. Well, I mean, seriously, no wonder you're grinning all of the time.
I just love it. I can't help it. I love it.
They are so historic.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where Nelson got the order to leave the harbour because he was going to be obliterated.
Yeah.
But of course, Nelson was doing what Nelson loved doing, which was fighting, and he did it very well.
And he did a particularly good job there.
He was very good. He did it, and he didn't want to leave, did he? And so,
Well, it caused a lot of political trouble.
did it? In what way?
If my history's correct, the British government had done some deal with the Russian government, which would have meant that Battle of Copenhagen might not have happened. Someone will probably pull me up on this, but I think I'm
Sure.
correct. Nelson either ignored or didn't get the message not to go, and with the opposition very well.
But you see, Nelson was very good at turning a blind eye to direct orders from superior officers, and the Admiralty.
Bad hearing.
Yeah, but the Admiralty turned a blind eye to his tactics because he was so good at it.
He was brilliant.
But this is
Seat of the pants.
Interestingly enough, in the book I'm going to give you, my book, A Romp with the Georgians, I write about Copenhagen and the turning a blind eye when Nelson gets ordered out of the harbour because his commanding officer thought he was going to be obliterated. These mirrors were there. When Nelson was told to leave the harbour, Nelson put his telescope to his blind eye and said, "I see no such order, continue fighting."
Yeah.
Isn't that just wonderful?
Yeah, and he did a good job.
He was
But
damn
the
good.
government gave very few honours, and Nelson never forgave them for that.
Right.
They almost wrote it out of history, and he never forgave the British government for that, ever.
Well, that's something that I'd like to know more about. Now, before you move on, because I know that you love your history and the historical context to you is more important. I know that. But how much are they worth, Charlie?
I think they're about £14,000 to pay.
For the pair?
Yeah.
Okay.
How good's that? Something from the Battle of Copenhagen.
Yeah.
Those mirrors normally would have been smashed to bits by somebody.
Yeah.
And they've survived till now.
What a piece of history.
And what a great talking piece.
Totally. I could spend all night talking about them, boring people about my
they won't
hero.
argue back, David, are they?
Aren't they the perfect objects?
As a lady, you might not like the mercury peeling off, but to me, that's all part of the charm.
Well, it's interesting the fact that the mercury is peeling off, because I've talked about these before on the channel, and people, I think, do understand now that, you know, this is a sign of an original piece of mercury glass. You can't buy new mercury glass anymore, Charlie, can you? It's illegal to buy it.
Yep.
And that is actually exactly what we want to see in a period piece of mirror.
With the original labels on the back.
I
get?
do not know where you get these things from, because show me more, because I can see around me, including this guy that you won't talk to me about yet, but we'll do another video.
Yeah.
These are things that very often people get to see once in their lifetimes only, yet you seem to have a room full. What have we got here?
Well, I think I have a room full because I buy too much, and I just love keeping it. This is a museum quality model, as this of the Tentallon Castle, totally original, and the even the decoration, if you look really close, this what looks like silver plate, I think it's nickel plated, is all in original condition. That is very clever, because if they've got this mirror, special mirror, that makes you think you're looking at the whole of the ship, but you're not. You're only looking at one half, because there's only one half built.
I see. I genuinely didn't pick up on that.
So if you ever get a model like this and you can see a gap on the back of the mirror, it's because the mirror's been replaced, because you can't get this mirror anymore.
How absolutely amazing. So date-wise, what date are we looking at roughly?
Late 19th century.
Late 19th century. That is a real man cave thing. What sort of money?
28,000.
Yeah. Okay, I get it. Okay, you do like your globes.
I like my thousands.
You do like those as well.
That's what it costs. You know,
Yeah.
If you don't pay the money, you don't get it.
True. And then another one there.
My father used to say you can't sell fresh air.
That's so true.
I bought this in the north of England just prior to lockdown, and again, it's a very beautiful model. I originally, when I saw it, I thought, oh, well, the mirror's gone, but actually that's the original satin wood backboard.
Right.
And that's the way it was made for the dockyard. But I love the bow-fronted glass.
It's terribly stylish. I mean, it
Very.
really is a piece of art in itself in the cabinetry.
Yeah, I mean, in those days when the shipyards were going flat out, you know, making ships for all over the world, they had full-on model making rooms.
Of course they did.
They'd have 8 or 10 model makers.
Value?
I think it's 16, 18,000.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry if I'm a bit vague about this, because everything's on the website.
Yeah.
And I can't carry it all in my head.
No. And
anymore.
also, how many pieces do you think you actually own? Just
too many.
Too many.
Too many.
And I think we're talking 1,000 pieces.
No, less than that. We're in the hundreds.
Several hundreds.
Several hundred.
One day you should count them. Right, come on then. Does this door go anywhere?
Oh, yeah, you missed Emma too. This is Emma.
Hang on a moment. This is not Emma Hamilton.
Yes, it is. This is Lord Nelson's lover.
Oh, she's one of my absolute heroes from that
She's
time.
looking out to sea as he sails away.
Oh my goodness me! It's not Joshua Reynolds though, is it?
Oh, I wish.
No,
it wouldn't be
I
on
know.
the wall.
Yeah. I mean, Joshua Reynolds was in love with her, wasn't he? And he painted her prolifically.
Reynolds also, there was another artist, very famous artist at the time, that painted her 50 or 60 times.
Really? Is that right? Well, she was a major celebrity of the day, wasn't she?
She was an extraordinary life.
She was an extraordinarily interesting person.
She was. It's a good read. She started her interesting life at the age of 13 or 14, if I remember rightly.
I think she worked in a Georgian health spa for a little while in central London.
I think she did.
As a effectively an upmarket host, not what people might be assuming, but she was terribly beautiful.
Immensely beautiful.
Yeah, and she would welcome guests to this very expensive health club, which cost, if I remember from memory, the equivalent of £400 just to walk through the door.
Oh, that was exclusive.
It was exclusive.
It was.
Yeah. She could tell some stories. Now, do we know who painted her?
We do, but I can't remember. It's a long lost picture. When we get back to the brochures, I'll look it up for you.
Okay, so
and
she is.
Sorry if I'm vague. It's just so much going on.
No.
I just can't take it all in all the time and remember it anymore.
But she's many thousands of pounds.
Many tens of thousands.
Many tens of thousands.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a long lost picture. It's a very important picture.
And will this be something that maybe once the research is fully done, we might make another video on?
Yeah, the research is pretty much done on this one.
Yeah.
If you go into our book, our first book, Britain on the High Seas, Nelson to Churchill,
Okay.
it's featured in that.
Is she on your website?
She's on the website, and there's page turners of our books, and there's a very, very good write-up of her there.
Okay, but she's tens of thousands. Wherever you're watching in the world, you want to buy Emma Hamilton. If I had the money, I would, because she is just out of this world.
I'll help you out.
Would you?
Yes, I would.
Interest-free credit?
Good terms.
What's through that door?
Well, we get into the workings of the workshops and the guys all doing bits and pieces here.
Oh wow. I mean, this is a real change in environment, isn't it?
Total.
How interesting
That's
is
what's
that?
exciting.
It is exciting. I find this is a feast for the eyes. I mean, you've got the lovely veneers there, old
This
pieces
is
of
very,
timber as
very
well.
important for making the restoration quality.
Yeah.
You know, when you've got a chair, mahogany chair, you don't want to use a modern piece of quick grown mahogany. You want something that was of the period.
Nice and thick and dense.
Yeah, so you know, you take a bit of old oak like that, most people would chuck it on their wood burner, but that's a glorious piece of oak.
Yeah, that really is. Isn't it lovely?
And it will get used. We don't throw anything away.
No.
We just don't.
Well, it's the perfect example of green living, isn't it?
Fantastic.
Yeah, isn't it just?
I mean, you can't get this timber anymore.
So it looks like you're even saving like chair backs and sections of furniture, just to
absolutely.
chair legs.
There's a piece of solid satinwood off a late Victorian chair.
Yeah.
Well, that's got colour, it's got quality,
Yeah.
and it'll get used again. I'm not throwing that away.
That's fantastic.
And I'm sorry if that sounds really boring.
It's not boring.
But that's important to us.
Do you know what? That is so far from boring, it's unbelievable. That's actually very exciting.
Well, when you've got a satinwood chair of that period, you can't go and buy a new piece of satinwood.
No.
It'll just be different.
So it's sympathetic, authentic restoration.
Yeah.
And I just heard a staple gun. Do you mind? Hello there.
Hi.
Hi there, I'm David.
Well, David Roy.
Nice to see you. What's your name?
My name's Con.
Con, good to see you. Can I have a quick look at that lovely chair you're doing there?
Sure.
I mean, that's a good, 19th century Georgian style, or is it period?
Correct. No, it's about 1900.
Yeah, 1900.
1910.
So kind of Georgian revival. Can we have a look underneath there, Con? Would you mind
sure.
tipping up a little bit? Just have a look at that construction. Look at that. And have you tied these springs in?
Yeah, so everything's tied in with the webbing.
Look at that.
So everything's temporary until you're happy you've got everything in the right place. Then you start working it to finish all the corners and everything.
That is absolutely, I mean, honestly, that is such skilled work. And
It's
that,
enjoyable work.
do you enjoy it?
I do, yeah. You're actually building something, you know, and creating your own sort of style into it,
Yeah,
perfecting it.
completely. You are becoming part of the history of the chair, in fact.
Yeah.
Let me just tap that, because these will tap like a drum. Now, that is the sound of quality and something that will last forever, stitched in, or at least a few generations, stitched in by hand. Con, that's, you are a rarity. Lovely to meet you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great pleasure.
That, David, is that there, which is about as good a chair as you'll get. Old gentleman's chair. Is the colour will do those. So it's Con will colour them by hand.
Really?
Yeah, we do all our own colouring.
So that leather going on now, which
That's
smells,
natural hide.
actually smells delicious,
Yeah.
doesn't it? You'll colour it once it's in situ, once it's
I
done.
think we're going to do it in this navy blue.
So this is just the beginning. Then I'll build up whatever colour the client wants or Charlie requires. You slowly build it up over days.
Yeah.
And then I'll put all the finishing touches to it, which allow me to crack the leather.
So this is like a wash, isn't it?
Yeah,
So you
that's right.
build. That
Yeah.
is so traditional. That's how they did it in the day.
Yeah, yeah.
Jeez,
That's
this
what
is.
Charlie insists on, true tradition.
Yeah.
That's what
And
should
doesn't it
be.
make a difference?
It does, yeah, absolutely, to the quality, the feel. You know, when you get that sort of crunchy sort of.
You can feel the hair.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
the horsehair, isn't it? This is
That's
the.
right.
And when for you watching at home, if you've got an old sofa or chair and you push it and you can feel and hear the crunching, that's what you're feeling. Original horsehair. I mean, you could fill these things with foam if you wanted to, but you wouldn't enjoy your work, would you?
No, not at all, not at all.
Oh, Con, honestly, you're a very talented and very lucky man
Thank you.
to be working with such beautiful things. Right, where's he gone? He's run away.
The showroom, I think.
It's gone into the showroom, right. What have we got in here? So Charlie has disappeared, so we'll have a little mooch around. Look at that. Antiques Trade Gazette. Of course you're going to find Antiques Trade Gazettes. Oh, you're there. Right, well, you're trying to get away from me.
The good lady fund. So David, this is Martin.
Martin.
Who does all the tricky stuff for us and spends all the time spending, you know, the intricate work. And he's just done a glorious job on this extraordinary model of a defence cannon.
Right.
In all the years, I've never had one on its original base. Solid walnut base.
Yeah.
About 1815 date. Black Derbyshire marble, which again in itself is rare. And they must have thought very high, must have been very important model, this working model, because this is in solid ebony. Original block and tackle, which is gorgeous.
Now, when you say a working model,
So this slides up and down.
crikey.
So I think this was, got to be very careful. This was made to show people how it worked. Possibly, I wonder if it was for ordnance. It was shown to the government buyers or the military or whoever to show them how this particular piece of equipment was going to work.
That's quite amazing, isn't
And
it?
it actually traverses from a centre point here like that. And if you go to Dover, I think it's Dover in Dover Castle possibly, and definitely Hurst Castle, they have these cannons. where they
The
traverse like
full
this.
sizes.
Yeah.
So who would buy that? What kind of collector?
Military man. I've got
Yeah.
someone that I think will like this when we finished it, and it's going in the book. I'm going to put a nice museum glass over the top of it so
Right.
it stays clean.
Wow, let me have it. And again, I'm sorry to keep talking about money because I know that actually the history is genuinely more important to you, but the viewers at home are going to be shouting, yeah, very interesting, Charlie, get to the money.
Yeah, but everything you ask me is always such a lot of money, and it's a bit embarrassing, really.
Well, it's the market you're in. And,
Yeah, it is.
you know, the antiques business is full of different markets.
Yeah.
You're at the top end of it. It's,
It's very kind.
well, but you are, and you love it up there.
Yeah, it's going to be 28,000.
28,000.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, I'm going to follow you.
Okay, well, we just
Nice to meet you, Martin. Thank you.
I suppose, David, I better show you in here now.
So more workshops, a bit of storage here.
Uh,
Where are we going now?
I need more storage. My mistake, David's my mistake. This is basically a showroom we have for ourselves, not open to the public. You have to phone me to come and see me.
Okay,
And this is where we keep all our bits and pieces.
right, let me close that door. And for you at home and for me as well, let's just take a couple of moments to feast our eyes, have a little wander around. And talking of feasting eyes, there's a good pair of eyes. That is a cracking owl. I've never seen anything quite like it in my life before.
Just keep an eye on you, David.
I need an eye kept on me in here, Charlie. Okay, I'm going to come to you in a moment. I just want to just take a breather and just soak up a little bit of what this place is, because this is quite extraordinary. And oh my goodness gracious, right. Okay. So all of these items are for sale.
Yes.
Which is your favourite? Do you have such a thing?
In this particular room,
Yeah.
I think my favourite would probably be this carving.
Oh, okay.
It's late 19th century,
Yeah.
copying Grinley and Gibbons. But
Grinley and Gibbons being whom?
the finest carvers of the 18th century.
Yeah.
The finest. But when we bought this, we found a little signature just down at the bottom, and James Peake. We did a lot of research.
Sorry about the reflections at home here, but it is behind obviously glass, but it's an important thing. This 1875 dated.
Yes.
Yeah. Go on.
James Peake. When we'd done all the research, there's
Yeah.
quite a lot about him, and he caught the eye of the king, and he did quite a lot of it. And the king turned up at his house to look at what he was doing.
Right.
And a lot of his work is one of the cathedrals in London. And the family had been in touch with me and came to see me to look at this, and it was a very moving moment, you know, to actually meet someone that was related to the hand that did this. And he used to go, the story goes that he used to go around the streets when the timbers are big storms and pick up the local timbers and use it.
So was he a trained carver, or was,
Yes,
he, or was
he
he
was.
self-taught?
No, I believe he was a trained carver,
Right.
but he was exceptional.
And what would have been the purpose of this, Charlie? Is it just a thing?
Work of art.
It's just a thing?
And a good shot, I don't know if you can get it, is from the side, because you get the depth of the carving.
Oh, that's good. Oh, I've got you. That's a good call. Look at that. So yes, so made because he could,
Because he could.
and made it because it was beautiful,
Yes.
and bought by somebody because it was
No, he
beautiful.
kept it.
He did.
It was obviously his masterpiece.
It's almost like a touch piece, something to show people, maybe to.
If that stays on the wall forever, I don't mind.
You really don't
No,
mind.
I really love it. I just look at this regularly and look at the depth of that carving and the timbers he's used. And it's just, imagine someone sitting down today to make that.
I know.
Look at the little stamens here. I mean, it's just glorious.
It is actually mind-boggling, isn't it? Okay. Wow. That's your favourite item, isn't that?
Yeah,
strange?
I think so.
But is it the most expensive item you've got in here?
No, it isn't. But it's certainly my favourite.
So it's not all about the money.
No, the money's nothing to do with it.
What sort of value?
If I remember rightly, it's 38,000.
Okay. Right. Rarest object in this room?
Rarest object in this
I mean, they're
room.
all rare.
They are, well, they're all well picked. Rusty and my wife and I pick, you know, that's her thing. She loves early Islamic things.
Right.
So these are early Islamic tiles. So those would certainly be her favourite. It's a difficult shout. That
Yeah, it is. Sorry, you see,
it all works together for me.
when we do these interviews, we haven't prepared any of this.
No.
You don't know what's coming, and I don't know what you're going to say. And
Nor do I
it's-
half the time.
we both get away with that. Yeah.
Well, that's just the way it is.
Tell me about this table, though, because that is surely.
It's a really gutsy tip, but it's a late 19th century copy of an early William Kent table.
Right, got you. Okay, because that looks like £1 million worth to me.
If it was the real thing, it would be probably.
Yes, yeah.
But I'm lucky enough to have a really top end 10 out of 10 19th century copy.
Fair
I'm
enough.
very pleased to own it.
Absolutely right. So looking like it was made in what, 1730, 1750, something like that. Yeah.
But then copied in the 1870s, 1880s.
Yeah, in like a revival period.
But beautifully done.
I mean, it's just.
Original gilding.
The only thing with that, it is so stunning. You just have to have a whacking country house for it.
But what you're missing, David, is the mirror above.
Go on.
I bought, must be 30 years ago.
Right.
And it came from Georgie Fame, the pop star.
It never did.
Yeah. And if you get up close to this,
Yeah.
every single glass is original. The lines are original, the bevelings. It's all as it was made.
So looking at it, what is it, 1820?
Maybe even a bit earlier, 1815.
Right, okay.
High Regency with the pharaohs.
Yeah, it's got to be that, hasn't it?
What a mirror. What a mirror. I love it. Personally, I love it.
And we talked about the mercury glass earlier on as well. There is a superb panelled mercury glass and made in panels, I think, because glass in those days was very difficult to make on a roll, wasn't it? They had to make it in smaller sections.
But these are all really, even the beveling's lovely on this.
Yeah. Wowza. Wow. 30 years you've owned it.
Yeah, but I never really put it up for sale. I mean, I have put it up for sale, but I've never tried very hard to sell it.
Isn't that strange?
Yeah, I
You
love
just like it. I mean, you're not living with it. You don't live in this room.
I come in here a lot though. I come in probably 10 times a day.
Do you really?
Yeah, and I still see it. That's what I really enjoy. I still look at these things and think, yeah, that's still a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about money. Table.
Table is 58,000
Yeah.
and the mirror is 48,000.
Okay, so 100,000 quid, not far,
Yeah.
well, a bit over 100,000 quid
Yeah.
for the set. Well, look, you know, the fact it's only numbers. If you've got the money, you've got the money.
people-
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah,
And people do have the money, don't they?
well, they do. I mean, look at the price of handbags if you want a good handbag.
Well, I hadn't bought one recently, have
Not
you?
me. I go to the charity shop for mine.
What you do on a weekend, Charlie, is up to you.
We're not going there. Actually, I go sailing. So come with me.
You go sailing, and now you see, yes,
to my
I
man
knew
cave.
you were a nautical man.
Yeah, come to my man cave.
Oh, is this your man cave?
Yeah. So this building we added on as a store.
Right.
Lockdown comes along, we had nothing to do, so I turned it into my own showroom.
Oh my goodness me. Your own showroom for your own delight and pleasure.
Yeah, it's for sale, but it's really what my passion's all about.
But this is like another locked off room. So the first room, it's invitation only. The second room is like double invitation only,
Yeah.
isn't it?
I got to really like you to bring you in here.
Talk me around, walk me around. You love your
Okay.
globes.
Yeah, let's start. I mean, one of my favourite pieces here is this cup, which was given by the Sailor King, who was William IV and Lord Nelson's chum.
Really? I
He
didn't
gave
know
it-
they were pally.
Yeah, they were great pals. And the king gave this to the Royal Yacht Squadron for the King's Cup in 1839.
Right.
And in those days, when you won a cup, you got to keep it.
Yeah.
Can you imagine giving that to someone today and saying you can keep that?
That is remarkable because,
it's-
I mean, I'm sorry to keep talking about money all of the time, but people will be wanting to know. I mean, it's worth
It's a
many
lot- it's-
thousands, tens of thousands.
It's just a lot of money. We'll leave it at that.
You're-
You're embarrassing me.
I know I can't help it,
Yeah, okay.
but it's tens of thousands.
You do it very well.
Thank you.
It's tens of thousands.
It's tens of thousands.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, let's have a look through here then, because this is just
Okay.
like the place that keeps on giving.
Yeah, well, this is my sort of my yachty stuff again.
So, is it just an interest in maritime stuff, or do you actually get involved physically
Yeah, of course.
on the water?
I'm on the- yeah, if I could be on the water all the time, I would.
Right.
But I never get time because I'm buying this stuff and restoring it and working
Right.
on it.
Okay. Do you think you need to get more time on the water?
Yes, I do. But it doesn't seem to happen.
Right. Okay. So is that your other passion?
Yeah.
So, sailing, not
Sailing,
motorboating?
A little bit of motorboating, but
Yeah.
yachting around the Solent I absolutely love.
Well, you're in the perfect location,
Well,
aren't
here's
you?
a Montague Dawson of a 6-metre yacht running down with the ones behind in the middle of the Solent. This will be Newtown Creek just over here.
Which is where you go sailing?
Yeah, and Yarmouth is here, and we're sort of over here. And this is a beautiful little yacht that was built for Charles Nicholson of Camper and Nicholson's. That's him sailing it almost certainly.
Well, I never.
That to me is what I love about this area.
Yeah.
If I
It's
could
all
do
about
that-
the water.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
All about the
And
water.
where I'm
I
going to
know.
take you for lunch is where you're going to be.
Good, good. We're going for lunch. To end this video, we're going to have some lunch. So, you're just going to have to say to me, rather than me asking you all the time about money, because I'm now feeling awkward, you're going to have to say, this is a so-and-so and it's X. Go for it.
Look on the website. It's priced on the website.
Honestly, you're so modest. Okay, okay. Have a look on the website if you're viewing at home. Let's keep on going. Oh, boats and ships and all sorts of
This is
stuff.
another great Montague Dawson here. That's a windy day. Same area, but going up towards Hurst Castle. And they've got what they call a line squall, where a squall of wind and rain comes through, and you can see the line of it here.
Yeah.
And they're looking out to weather here to see where it's going and what's going to happen. But that's a windy day on the Solent.
Now, do you feel when you look at that painting that is it good enough to feel that you're almost there?
100%. Both of these I totally relate to, having been there so many times.
And that's what makes them a special piece
Yeah,
each.
well, for me.
But also for the buyer and, you know, a terribly
yachts.
well-known artist.
Well, a yachtsman will buy that, but he'll link and just connect with the whole thing.
Right. Oh my goodness me, they're not what I think they are.
You got quite good taste, though.
I think I do. This is Lord Nelson, our hero.
It is.
Are we allowed to talk about these?
Yeah, a little bit, not too much though. You know, we have a plan. You know, they'll be coming out in another book in due course.
Shall we save these for another video?
Well, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay, so here's a teaser for you watching at home. If I'm correct, these are original Lord Nelson dinner pieces.
Birthday service, to give you a clue. They were his birthday service.
You've got to be kidding me.
No, this is what is left of it, because a lot of it would have been ransacked. But these, who knows? He might well have handled these, or Emma, Lady Emma might have.
Right, okay, so we'll come back to these as a standalone video.
Another day.